Welcome to the Ask the Experts show with local experts in the fields of legal, health, financial, and home improvement. Enjoy being educated in such topics as personal injury law, community association law, family law, bankruptcy law, along with health show topics like pain management, men's health, and dental implants. Now, sit back and enjoy today's Ask the Experts with host Steve-O.
Good afternoon. I was waiting for the light to come in. This is live radio. And if you're wondering, wait a minute, Ask the Experts doesn't come on till 5 o'clock on 1470. Well, we still are going to come on at 5 o'clock on 1470, but we are on the mother station, the Beasley Mother Station, 740 a.m. We'll be with you every Thursday from 3 to 4. And wow, do we have some incredible shows, including this one at 3 o'clock. And then we have another show coming on at 3:30. But I love this topic. We're going to be talking about credit repair. And listen, I am going through something now with my Renee, and I cannot wait to talk about this. So let me introduce to you to our expert, attorney, Chris Legg. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Steve. How are you?
I'm good. Now, this is your first time on radio.
That's right.
You're going to do incredible because you're talking about a topic that most people know about. But we're going to explain today a lot of things they don't know about. So first, tell us a little bit about your practice.
Sure. So I started off as a lawyer, actually a debt collection attorney.
Okay.
And we sued people on old credit card debts.
Did you hate that?
I really did, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It went against everything that I went to law school for.
Well, sometimes there's a sad case. You go, God, I feel so bad.
Everyone was a sad case.
Wow.
Yeah. So from there, I kind of took on the other side. I saw that we could beat these cases and that we could help consumers. And really what I went to law school for was to help people.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to Florida State for my undergrad and Nova for my law school.
Wonderful.
And so that's when my practice started. It was about 2009.
So you can sleep at night.
I can sleep at night a lot better, yes. Now.
So, listen, it's nothing to hold your head down if you're having credit problems. But this show, and Chris will be with us every month, this show is going to teach you, explain to you, and maybe get where you can sleep at night. So first thing I want to do is I want to give Chris's phone number. Give everybody your phone number.
Sure. So the office is 954-962-2333.
And your website?
You can get us at theconsumerlawyers.com.
That makes sense. So tell everybody what you do.
Sure. So we do a lot of different things, but the main focus we do is helping consumers with errors on their credit reports. So let's say there's an identity fraud situation or they've mixed your name with another similar name and you've got items or accounts on your report that are not yours or they're being reported inaccurately. We step in, and now I just want to draw a distinction. We're not a credit repair company.
Okay.
Some of those guys,
are different. Those aren't usually attorneys.
Correct. And
Okay.
a lot of them are fly-by-night type situations. We are attorneys, obviously regulated by the bar, so everything we do is scrutinized, and we can actually sue these companies when they don't do what they're supposed to do.
You can go a lot further than a credit repair company can go.
Exactly.
And now they're dealing with an attorney,
Exactly.
not just an employee of a credit repair company.
Sure.
So what do you mostly see nowadays?
I'm seeing now a lot of identity fraud.
Okay.
And I think everyone's heard of that or had a relative that has had that happen to them. So the person a lot of times won't discover it until they go apply for something, let's say an auto loan or a house. It'll pop up on the reports. They're dumbfounded as to where it came from. And a lot of times they don't know what to do exactly. And then that's when we can step in.
Okay. And you and I were just talking, and I've got so many questions for you. So just recently, my Renee she's looking for a house. She signed for her son's loans. And from what I understand, as long as you're going to school, you do not have to repay them then. You do have to repay them, right, unless we get Bernie Sanders. But when you're still going to school, so he had like a 2-month lag time.
Deferment, probably.
Yes. And what did they do? Boy, did they file fast.
Sure.
So all of a sudden, her score it went down by 100 points. From this one thing, it went down 100 points.
Yeah.
And they were wrong. And I'm going to tell you something. I know that you see this every day. It took hours, days to get them on the phone.
Sure.
And then you got to explain and send them papers.
Yeah.
Thank God for you, Chris Legg.
Well, you almost have to prove that you're innocent.
Yes.
Which is the opposite of what it should be. But I understand that. I'm surprised, actually, that she was able to get that corrected.
Oh, she's
she must be.
Yes.
She must be, because...
And it was still very difficult.
Sure.
And if we'd have known to have someone like you that could go in and I think just the shingle of you being an attorney.
It helps.
That has to help.
It does. One of the requirements, to back up a little bit, we travel under a statute. It's called the Fair Credit Reporting Act.
Okay.
And this is a federal statute. And in essence, it says, as a consumer in the United States, you have rights, and you have a right to an accurate credit report. Well, one of the requirements of that is notifying the bureaus that, hey, there's an error, I'm disputing this, and then they have 30 days to go through and investigate. And if they can verify it, they can leave it on. If they can't verify it, they're supposed to take it off within that 30-day time frame. I have yet to see the dispute letters correct the problem, but I haven't seen everything. Maybe one day that will happen. So typically after that process, then you're able to file a lawsuit.
I noticed another thing that they said they were going to take it right off, actually send her a letter, but it doesn't fall off right away with the credit bureaus.
Well, you're probably looking at because it's reported each 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lag on that too.
And then how long does it take the credit bureau to make it right?
I've seen it once the company, the furnisher, that's the creditor, under the FCRA it's called the furnisher. Once they initiate the process, I've seen it take up to 90 days to get totally clear before, which it shouldn't, but I've seen that.
So, Chris, we have a lot of business owners that listen to this show. Do you handle a lot of business owners as well, or is it strictly just consumer individuals?
We can do everything from commercial. I mean, it all applies. Now, the protections are a little more geared towards consumer, so we'd have to look at the individual situation and see.
Okay. So let's go back now with credit. And, again, we're not going to call this credit repair because that's not what you are. You are an attorney. Now, when they sit down with you, is there a charge for that?
No. We do all our cases on a contingency basis.
Okay.
So no upfront fees from the client. All that's taken care of at the end of the case.
So how do you charge your clients?
Well, we cover the costs. So we won't take the case unless we think it's a valuable one. So then we'll cover any costs associated with it. And the majority of these cases settle before they go to trial. So in that settlement agreement, there will be a piece of it towards my firm, and then also the client gets a portion of that settlement too. But most importantly, the terms of the settlement have the credit report being corrected. Right. Which is priority number one.
And you're saying credit fraud seems to be the biggest reason. How do you fix it?
That's the way. It unfortunately, it takes a lawsuit, in my experience.
Yeah.
Others may have had different results, but I've seen a lot, and they just don't do a thing until you go after them in court.
Wow. I got to throw something in because there's a lot of business owners, small business owners, and there must be thousands of these companies that call you. I get probably 20 calls a day wanting to loan you money.
Sure. That's another component of my law firm, too.
Because every time, and there's nothing wrong with needing money for your business, and they're usually talking about an unsecured loan. Every time you have one of those companies do a check on you, it's going to lower your credit report.
Sure.
And no one even thinks about that.
No, anytime you apply and you give them permission, you're going to have that inquiry on there, which, it's not a huge percentage.
Yeah, but if you have 5 or 6 companies out there that you think are going to try to get you a loan, not realizing.
Yeah, it can be up to a point, I think, per inquiry. So,
wow.
You do 5, you got 5 points off.
So tell me other things that you see besides just fraud.
Sure. So a recent case I had, my client had a cell phone from Verizon, and she had a money back refund guarantee. She went in within the time frame, returned everything, gave them the phones, got a receipt showing that she did. 3-4 months later, it turns up that she's got a collection account on her credit report for these cell phones that she returned and didn't use. And she fought and fought and fought, and until she came to us, she really didn't get the relief she was looking for. We've since have filed a lawsuit, and we're currently in litigation right now with that case. But I've seen a lot of that situation where someone returned a product, but yet, a big company a lot of times won't have a person looking at each individual matter, and it'll slip through the cracks, and there you have it on your report.
Tell everybody why this credit report is so important.
Well, in my opinion, it's probably the most important document in a person's life, really. You're looking at loans, any loan that you get, they're going to pull your credit and then decide whether to loan to you or not. And then if they do, what type of interest rate you're going to get. If you have a bad score or a ding on your credit, you could get upwards of 5-10% higher of an interest rate than you normally would have gotten. So those are the things that make this so important in my eyes.
Well, this has got to be the fastest 15 minutes in radio. We're going to go to break. We're here with attorney Christopher Legg. And give everybody your phone number.
954-962-2333.
And we'll be right back.
A person's credit report is one of the single most important financial documents in their life. It can affect the type of loans you get, the jobs you want, and many other things. Since credit reports are so important, it's essential that they are accurate. Unfortunately, they contain far more errors than most people realize, especially if you've been a victim of identity fraud. If you have errors or accounts that don't belong to you on your credit reports, let attorney Christopher Legg help you. Their office will walk you through the entire dispute process at no charge. If your disputes don't get resolved, you may be able to take legal action. The law office of Christopher Legg takes these types of cases on a contingency basis, which means the client doesn't have to pay any money up front. They only get paid if they are successful. If for some reason there is no recovery, you owe nothing. Your credit report is important to your financial future, so don't hesitate. Reach out to attorney Christopher Legg today and get help. For peace of mind, contact attorney Christopher Legg to make an appointment at 954-962-2333.
And we're back. So we're talking about credit. God, is it so important. And he can't say this, but I can. We have got the expert in credit. You know what? You hear about a lot of these companies, credit repair companies. But I'm going to tell you something. When it says attorney in front of your name, I am telling you, I have even learned this, that people jump. They do. And I got to tell you, it makes a big difference being an attorney because you're starting off with an attorney. It's not like, well, maybe we'll call in attorneys at the end. And your letters have a lot of pull.
I would say more so, and nothing against the credit.
I'm not putting them down. But
right. But there are some that are fly by night, but most they'll send dispute letters, and that's where they stop, and that's as much as they can do.
I'm going to say this if it costs us ever having an expert like this. If you go to Yelp under credit repair,
it's
some of the things on there are so derogatory.
Sure.
And
yeah.
people, I mean, I've never seen a business, but they're not attorneys.
Right.
They're credit repair companies, and I see why they're fly by night. So we have, it's Attorney Christopher Legg. Where's your office at?
We're in Boca, right off of Palmetto Park Road.
Okay. But you don't just do Boca. You can, because we have a lot of people in Broward.
Yeah.
We have people up in Jupiter.
I go all over the state,
Okay.
and even actually nationwide. But I like to focus in on Florida. Obviously, it's where
Exactly.
I live, but I've done cases from Tallahassee to Miami.
Wow. So, and then also what that means is because we have a lot of New Yorkers, a lot of snowbirds
Sure.
who follow our show, even when they go back to New York, this is not going to leave you out. Okay.
No.
You're still included on this. What are some of the errors that you see with the credit reports?
Right. So, like we were discussing before with the identity fraud, that's just going to be an account or an item that you've never opened or you've never agreed to that's showing up on your report. Now, it may be negative. It may not be. The person may be paying it.
But how did it get there in the first place?
Well, the identity thieves will get your information, and they're very sophisticated. They can get these credit cards in your name and charge them up, and then next thing you know, you've got, and it's typically a derogatory item on your report. I've seen, like we discussed earlier, collection accounts for merchandise that was returned, auto loans that are reporting incorrectly on the payment history. That's another big one, where you're paying on time, but for some reason they've showed you paying as late. You dispute it and you show them your records and show them you've paid, and they still don't remove it. So there's a lot of different nuances to what the inaccuracies can be, but the by far the majority is identity fraud scenarios.
So you spend a lot of your time staying on these people. You can't let up.
Well, I can tell you this much. I know the credit bureau's attorneys on a first-name basis, and they know mine.
That's a
too.
good start.
Yeah.
That's a good start. So, again, Christopher Legg can cover any part of Florida, actually, of the United States. Why do people not get their credit reports?
They won't get them. A lot of people don't check them on a regular basis.
Okay.
So there's a lot of different ways to kind of couch yourself. Now, a lot of people have alerts nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
You'll have that with your credit card. They'll actually offer that free service. Some people check it on a regular basis. I recommend using freeannualcredit.com. It's your free report each year from each of the different bureaus. If you pulled one bureau every 3 to 4 months, you'd kind of cover yourself for the year.
Right.
To where you could see what type of activities going on your account.
How often should people look at those? Monthly?
Well, I don't want to say pull it too often because you can actually get dinged for that. But
Wow,
there's
I didn't know
free
that.
ones that don't do that. Credit Karma is one of them.
That's what I have.
Yeah, and I like that service, actually.
They send me if there's a problem or if your credit's gone up.
Yeah,
They
they'll
do
send you a
both.
little email alert.
Yes.
And they'll say, wow,
now,
look
they
at your
represent
score.
3 companies, but they only give you free after you've gotten your first. I get one free from is it Expedia?
Well,
or-
my experience with them was Equifax and
Equifax.
TransUnion will give you
Yeah.
a free.
So I get Equifax like once every quarter. I think I get it.
Right.
Maybe once a month. But they actually tell me if there's been movement either way.
Right, and that's a good service. I actually use them myself.
I tell you what, I don't see how anyone, because it is free.
Right,
To
and
fr-
it doesn't ding each time you look at it.
Right. And I just wait for them to, since they do it probably
Give
every
you a heads
quarter.
up.
But I learned so many things. I was like, because they can go back pretty far.
Yes, actually, you can go in there in the history and see as far back as you've opened your account with them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So people should do that. That's just,
I think it's a good
and they
thing to
can't
keep.
complain about the price.
Right.
Okay.
Right, they can.
So that's the best way to check your credit.
Yeah, the
Using
free
one of these
annual
services.
or the Credit Karma.
What should someone look for when they're pulling their credit?
Sure. So you want to look, obviously, for items or accounts that you don't recognize. That's usually an indication of identity fraud. You can also look for names that are similar to yours on aliases that are listed on your reports, addresses that you're not familiar with. Those can kind of tip you off to some funny activity going on. Doesn't always mean that, but it can be an indicator. So
I want to make everybody aware, because I know there's people who would love to be calling now. This is the first show for Chris, and I promise you next month we will open up the phone lines. So if you've got a credit problem, you, a friend, maybe a family member, we'll be letting you know when Chris's next show is in July, and we'll open up the phone lines. Today, just kind of, I want you to meet Chris, and this is just such a great show because it affects everybody.
It does. And, all walks of life have to deal with their credit reports and making sure that they're accurate. And another thing I wanted to add is we actually have dispute letters, so we'll kind of walk you through that process if you come to us, and there's no charge for that either.
Well, it's very important that you should open your mail. Always open your mail.
Yeah.
Just not opening it does not mean it's going to go away. But listen, you always think it's not going to happen to you.
Sure.
And it could be sitting there for months, and
Yeah.
you don't know about it.
Yeah.
And that's back to making sure you check, because it happens. It happens so much.
I've got a client right now that would visit his old address to collect his mail, and in it he found a bill for a credit card that he didn't open, and that was his first indication. He calls them. He does everything he's supposed to do. He disputes it with the agencies, the credit reporting agencies. Nothing is taken off, and now he's finally come to my office, and we're going to take care of him. But yes, to your point, keep your mail, open your mail and keep abreast of these situations.
I got to tell you something. Just from the one thing that Renee and I went through, I got to tell you, you don't want to do this yourself. You really don't.
I agree with you there.
You will spend hours. You will get so frustrated. You'll get, we call it the United Nations on the phone. A lot of times you can't even understand because they outsource the stuff to other countries.
And I think they make it that complex on purpose.
You think
That's my personal opinion. But
we should tell the cable people about that too. But I'm saying there's always, like, my son had a personal injury problem. He tried to handle it himself instead of going, and there was no charge up front, and he would only win, but he didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah, you can get yourself in trouble and then not get corrected what needs to be corrected. Obviously, I'm an attorney. I'm going to recommend myself.
This is all you do.
This is all I do.
Right.
I sit here all day, every day, dealing with credit report issues.
You don't want to deal with these people. I am telling you. Most of them don't even like their job anyway. But it's nice that they can come to you. First of all, you're going to be honest with them and tell them if you can help them.
100%.
Because maybe not everybody you can help.
No. If there's an item that is actually yours and there's nothing inaccurate about it, there's not a lot we can do.
Can't take those off,
right?
can
But
you?
there's, the credit reporting or the credit repair guys do have kind of a formula to try to use the law and in that 30-day window get it removed. But it's more of a game. In ours, we're looking to help those people that have actual issues, actual errors, inaccuracies on their reports that can't get it taken off.
Getting it taken off means your credit score is going to go up.
Yeah, when we get that negative item off, you're going to see a big pop.
Yeah. So it's so important to have someone like Attorney Christopher Legg. Give everybody your phone number again.
Sure. The office is 954-962-2333.
Now, Chris and I always discuss some of the questions we're going to be going over. This one we didn't, and it's going to be kind of a surprise to him, but he'll do fine. Why should I hire you?
That's a good question. I think honesty is a big I'm seeing that in bold letters. I'm not going to take you down a path that you don't necessarily need to go down. I've been doing this a long time, and it's really my passion to help consumers and help people get out of these issues that they're experiencing. When they've come to a dead end and they can't fix it, I like to step in and be able I enjoy my job.
I'm going to tell you something that's so great about his firm. There's a lot of firms, you go there, they have their shingle up, criminal law, bankruptcy law, debt management, all these different areas. And you go, how do they know about all those areas and could be good at all those areas? This is all you do.
This is really it. I mean, we've got 3 focuses in my firm, all having to do with consumer protection, but the bulk of our stuff that we deal with is this. Wow.
That's who you want. Well, fast 30 minutes. Give everybody again your phone number and your website.
Sure. The office is 954-962-2333, and the website's theconsumerlawyers.com.
And like I said, Attorney Christopher Legg will be back with us again next month. Get your questions ready. We'll be letting you know when he is going to be on in the month of July. We're going to go to a break right now, and we're going to come back with, hey, this time of the year, it's air conditioning time. Wait till you hear this show. We'll be right back. Thanks, Christopher.
Thank you.
A person's credit report is one of the single most important financial documents in their life. It can affect the type of loans you get, the jobs you want, and many other things. Since credit reports are so important, it's essential that they are accurate. Unfortunately, they can contain errors than most people realize, especially if you've been a victim of identity fraud. If you have errors or accounts that don't belong to you on your credit reports, let Attorney Christopher Legg help you. Their office will walk you through the entire dispute process at no charge. If your disputes don't get resolved, you may be able to take legal action. The law office of Christopher Legg takes these types of cases on a contingency basis, which means the client doesn't have to pay any money up front. They only get paid if they are successful. If for some reason there is no recovery, you owe nothing. Your credit report is important to your financial future, so don't hesitate. Reach out to Attorney Christopher Legg today and get help. For peace of mind, contact Attorney Christopher Legg to make an appointment at 954-962-2333.